Hello guys, so today we are going to continue and we'll be focusing on trend line breakout and retest. So based on our previous lesson, remember I spoke about trend lines, what they are, and they help us to determine the trend of the market, where it is going and when it has changed the direction. So the trend line breakouts, they help us to determine if the trend has changed direction. So today I'm going to be teaching you based off of a PDF that I created on trend line breakouts, right? So basically what we mean when we talk about trend line breakouts is this. So when a trend is moving in this direction, right, remember from previous lesson yesterday I said a trend line is whereby you put your line, your line is just supposed to touch the first 2 points. If it's an uptrend, a trend line for an uptrend, you put it from this point and this point, right? And then these following points are supposed to touch the trend line automatically without you having to do anything. So for example, your trend line is just supposed to go like this and then like this also. Okay, this is just a rough idea. And then when we talk about a breakout is when a trend line comes below this trend line. So it has broken this trend line from below, right? And then when we say it's a retest, the trend line comes to retest at a trend line here or at an order block that will be lying around here. So again, if you want to understand more on order blocks, go back on the previous lesson and the second lesson, and then it starts to continue going down. As it continues going down, you draw another trend line here, as you can see, to symbolize that the market is now going down. And then in case the market breaks the trend line from above, we'll wait for another retest around this area where there will be an order block or this trend line, and then it continues going up again like this. So these are the areas where you place your buys or you place your sell over here on retest, right? So remember I said when you place your buy or your sell, which areas do you target to take your profits? Okay, in case you buy here, your take profit is just supposed to be above here and your stop loss is just supposed to be below here, right? You target the next highs, or you target the previous highs or the previous lows for your take profits and stop loss. So I'll create another video on that, on risk management. Okay, so now let's go to our PDF so that I can show you what I mean by trend line breakout and retest. Okay, so based on this book, I'm sure some of you received this book. So now from here you can see this is an upper trend line, this is a lower trend line. It's moving in a channel to symbolize that the market is on a downtrend, as you can see, right? And then here the market broke the trend line from above. It came back here around this area to retest on an order block here and then it bought. Remember, I said you should always target the previous high. So in this case, if you had bought around this area, your next target is this high. This is where you take your profits, right? As you can see, after clearing these highs, it continued going down, and then it did another retest on the trend line here from above, and then it continued going up again. As you can see, it's respecting this trend line from above to symbolize that the structure is now changed from a downtrend to an uptrend, right? Here's another example. Here the market was on an uptrend. This is an upper trend line and this is a lower trend line. So the market was on an uptrend going up and down like this. And then it broke this trend line from below. This is a breakout. And then it came here to do what we call a retest. So you're going to sell here where it retested this trend line. So as you can see at this point, as it retested on the trend line, there is also an order block here around this area on the left. Let's zoom in. Okay, there is this order block, this one. So there's a combination of a trend line retest and an order block, which is now acting as a what? As a resistance. So remember, as I said in our first lesson, when the market changes direction and breaks the previous market structure, it has to break this trend line and also break this previous low to symbolize that it's no longer an uptrend but it's now a downtrend. So if you combine everything that I'm teaching you from today, from the first lesson until today, I am sure you understand everything what I meant, right? So as you can see now, here the market was now on a downtrend. You could put another trend line using this highest point and this highest point. Your trend line could just go all the way down like this. Is it? Okay, okay, so we can use this point, this highest point here, this highest point, and this. You can simply draw your trend line that can move. Like this. And then below here you can also draw another trend line. Right? So this is not a perfect drawing, but I'm sure you get the idea, right? Okay, so I'm sure now we understand what we mean by breakout and retest. Here's another example of a breakout and retest, right? Our market started here. This is our trend line, right? So our market was touching the trend line. As you can see, touched here, touched here, touched here, touched here, going upwards, right? And then here there was this sort of a downtrend here. You could put another trend line again here, and the market created what we call a flag here. So if you study this diagram and go and look for such things on your chart, you will see what I'm talking about. So here around this area there was a breakout on this small downtrend. There was a breakout here. The market came to retest this trend line in conjunction with this trend line that is going up, and also there is an order block around this area. This one, we are going to place a buy here, and your stop loss could be just below these lows. So study these things, and your take profit was just going to be above here. As you can see, the moment the market hit this previous high, it retraced down, and it eventually went up to hit these highest highs here, right? So guys, practice makes perfect and permanent, right? So basically this is what we have on the trend line retest. As you can see, this is another example, right? So no matter how much I speak, okay, this is another signal. I remember sending this signal to the Ion Pips signals group. This was the chart before. As you can see, this is my trend line here. So I was anticipating that it's supposed to come and retest on this trend line, at the same time utilize this order block. Let's see what it did. Okay, afterwards it came to this area to retest on the trend line on this order block. It went up, took out these highs, so they hit our take profit. Eventually they came back, utilized this order block again, and they went up to where we were expecting them to go. Okay, this is the trade. This is the trade over here. This was the buys. These were the buys. Okay, here's another example of a real trade that I took. Afterwards, as you can see guys, it dropped. So these are chart examples, as you can see, right? So guys, study these things, go on your chart and look for them. You will never go wrong. See you on the next video. Cheers.